Yeah, story is very big. I mean, art it can definitely be like you can have the most beautifully drawn comic, but like the worst story, and I will just be completely unimpressed by it.
Would you buy the comic anyway? Because you're like, it's so pretty. I love the artwork. Have you ever done that?
No.
So when you go to the bookstore, you're like leafing through it and you're like, no. You can tell. Because most people say, I don't know, if it isn't drawn great to begin with, I might not buy the book in the first place to read it. How can you tell just by glancing through it that it's like going to be a good story?
I guess you'd have to read a little bit of it.
Aha! It's almost like dating someone. You're like, well, she looks really nice. She dresses well. I'll go out with her once. I might not go out with her again. This might not go anywhere, but we'll give it a shot. I will take this book home. And see how it goes. So, Meg, what got you into comics and storytelling with pictures?
It was mostly just a culmination of meeting the right people at the right times in my life, but I do it because there's no rules.
No rules.
With writing books, you have punctuation, you have certain genres that you're supposed to do.
So you're anti-punctuation?
I'm anti-everything.
And there's a place for that. Like, if you want to be perfect, you can do that. Haven't you guys had students who are like, as you can see, my script is perfection. My drawings are anatomically, correct. My lighting is, my perspective, I invented perspective. And then some other kid shows up, it's like, I did this an hour before class. And you're like, how can you even compete with the kid who's like, Mr. Perfect? But then the kid that did his homework an hour before class, you're like, oh my God, that was hilarious. Like that, and the guy who was perfect, yawn. But you're really talented, I just don't want to read your comic. So you obviously are relishing the idea of breaking rules.
Yes.
So they're not standing in your way at all. Do you guys feel the same way about rules?
To a degree, yes.
To a degree.
Yes, I mean, I like genres.
Counterpoint.
I like specific genres, and I feel like some comics deserve to be put in certain genres and stuff. But for the most part, I do definitely agree that comics are definitely a place to experiment, for sure.
Well, if you were doing a superhero comic and you actually wanted to appeal to the readers of Marvel Comics, it would be a good idea to know, well, what is it Marvel Comics people are generally looking for? And maybe you could reinvent the whole idea of a superhero comic. But if you're like, I want to draw Spider-Man one day, that's my goal, or write Spider-Man comics or create comics for DC or Marvel, study how they make their comics and what is it that they are requiring. And you could be the best cartoonist in the world. Charles Schultz, my favorite cartoonist. Peanuts, one of the best comics ever. But I don't know that he should ever have been considered to draw the Fantastic Four. Because everybody would look exactly alike, except Linus would be made of bricks, Charlie Brown would stretch, But, and you're like, these things should not be together. Superheroes, Charlie Brown. But separately, they work.